Okay, so so much for logistics. Does anyone have any questions in terms of logistics, what you're going to be expecting for the rest of the week, what you're going to be doing here? No? Okay. Well, then that leads us to an important question, which is, why are we here? Why are you here? Now, before we get too metaphysical about this whole thing, and Douglas Adams fans start shouting out 42 for random reasons. I'm not talking about metaphysics. I'm just talking about why are we here in this room. We're here to learn hypnosis, are we not? We're here to learn a specific kind of hypnosis, conversational hypnosis. Now, because today's a bonus day, we won't be doing any conversational hypnosis. We'll be doing all the other stuff. But rest assured, you'll be getting plenty of conversational practice as the week continues. But if I understand things correctly, the reason that you guys are here is because you want to use hypnosis in your own lives. Some of you will be salespeople and want to influence the sales process. Some of you have some kind of influential role, whether it's teachers, educators, or managers, parents. Some of you will like to improve relationships with it as part of the communication thing, be that personal relationships, family, clients again. So all of you will have different reasons for being here. Some of you will actually be hypnotherapists and want to actually do hypnotherapy. Let's face it, it's a hypnotherapy certification program, isn't it? But I don't think that this is the real reason why you're here, because let's face it, if you're here for sales, well, there's plenty of sales programs out there, aren't there? If you're here for influence, there's a lot of people who will teach you how to influence and do these magic juju mind tricks. If you're here for relationships, there's plenty of people that give specific relationship seminars, etc. So what is it about hypnosis that makes you want to come here? Well, if you're anything like me, then it's because there's somewhere in the back of your mind a representation, an image, an idea that stuck with you. For me, when I was 5 years old, so remember this, I was watching TV, and I saw my very first stage hypnotist. This guy was cool. He wore a black suit. I messed up on that one. And he had a massive audience. I think we're doing pretty well on that one. He got a couple of people up, and he did the whole dramatic sleep, and the first person just went, boom. I went, wow. And then he did another person. He comes over, touched him on the head, and goes, sleep. It looked almost like a TV evangelist. The guy goes, boom. I'm serious, the people went like rag dolls and just dropped in the chair, dropped on the floor, like one after the other. The crowning moment for me was, after he did about 10 of these things, I knew nothing about hypnosis, this is just like magic to me. He points over right at the far end of the room and goes, sleep. And the person goes, boom. That thought has stuck with me since that point in time. Now, if you're anything like me, then I suspect you've seen something like that, experienced something like that, heard stories like that, and inside your mind you're thinking, if you can do that with hypnosis, what else can I do when I actually learn these skills? So that's really, I guess, the driving ideal that we have inside our mind. I'd like you to keep that feeling, that idea, that representation you have inside your mind. Because it's going to be a bit like waking up on Christmas morning, having a little gift waiting for you. If you're, well, I love Christmas. I used to grow up with, I mean, my parents were great at doing the whole Christmas mystique thing. We had, as kids, we were sent upstairs during the day to sleep so we wouldn't be grumpy in the evening. And we'd wake up, at dusk, so it was like getting dark. And we had to get all dressed up nice, and we'd wait in the room, and anticipation was building. I had a brother and a sister, so we'd sit in the room just waiting for the moment we could go downstairs and check out the whole presents and things. And you never know. You don't know what the presents you're going to get, what's going to be there. It's that anticipation that gets you kind of excited. And then there'd be like the Christmas music playing in the background, which would, of course, just heighten the anticipation even more. And we weren't allowed to come downstairs. Isn't that a killer? You know that something's waiting for you, but you're not allowed to go there yet. So, we'd wait there with bated breath until eventually my dad had a little bell he'd ring. Like Pavlov's dog, Bell goes. We come speeding down those stairs, bursting into the room, and then you have this magnificent sight. Candles everywhere, lights, music's playing, family standing up with champagne glasses. We're all kind of dressed to the hilt, and presents everywhere. I mean, we don't even know whose is whose, but the excitement is like, it feels like they're all for you. You know what I mean? And I like you to keep a sense of what it feels like to have a mountain of presents. If you, I think in America you guys open your presents on Christmas morning, is that right? So imagine you're waking up. It's Christmas morning. And your room overnight has been filled with your presents. They're for you. You get to unwrap them any way you want to. Now some of you will just tear the paper and just take the things off. Others of you will carefully unfold it just so you can reuse the paper maybe next year. Each one of you has a different way of revealing your presence. But the point is, the excitement that you feel at the same time. That's the bit that drives the whole experience. And that's the bit I'm going to encourage you guys to have as we go through these exercises today, because you're going to be really revealing a different kind of presence today. The kind of presence that makes you into the kind of hypnotist that you first saw and that first inspired you. I'm not talking about the kind of hypnotists you've seen since then. Some of them will have inspired you, in which case you may add that to the mix. Some of them may not. I'm talking about that very first one where you went, oh my God, what is this? Because if you have that idea inside of you, well, then you can become that idea. Otherwise, you couldn't think of it. There's something to think about, isn't there? So, last night we were out, just saying hello to some of the people I haven't seen for a while. We had dinner. And Cliff turns around and asks me, you know, when do you want to have, you set your alarm for in the morning so that we get here on time? I looked at him and went, alarm? Why would I want to wake up to alarm? Have you guys ever like woken up to the radio and heard a song, like maybe a really cheesy song you hate, but it gets stuck in your ear? And then for the rest of the day, that song gets going round and round and round. And worse still, when you're not paying attention, you suddenly catch yourself singing the very song that you don't even like. No one ever had some like experience? Because you know, the kind of experiences that we begin from tends to set the path for how we end up. You know? So why start the day with alarm? Panic. Why not start the day with a beautiful sunrise, quiet violins in the corner, someone turning over saying, hey, come on out, it's time to do something. And the same is true, I think, of a hypnosis seminar. Why start the day thinking like, oh my God, I know what hypnosis is, I know what to do. Why start the day thinking about all things you can't do? Why start the day looking at, you know, how inferior your skills are to everyone else's? Why start like that? Why not start with that image you have inside your mind, that very first hypnotist that inspired you, that first story that you saw or heard, and just lit a fire that got you here, all the way from Australia, New Zealand, or Palm Springs. Why not use that as a starting point and build on that? Would that not be something worthwhile doing? There's an old expression, fake it till you make it. Do you know that one? And I think it's very true. The more, your unconscious mind really doesn't know how to pretend. You know, the more you pretend something at some point, you kind of lose sight of the fact that you are and you just become something, which can be sometimes negative because we pretend things for other people, but don't want to become those, but we forget. So why not use something that people sometimes use to mess up their lives to actually improve it? How about we pretend from now on that this is the end of the week and you already are that hypnotist that we just talked about? Isn't that something fun? Wouldn't that be worth being someone like that? And coming from that point of view, then we spend the next week just playing with things. Sometimes you'll play with them and mess up just because you can. And sometimes you'll play with them and stuff comes out and you go, huh, do you see? I don't know, I did that. That's good. But you've got to give yourself a chance at least, because otherwise you'll never know, right? So if I can make one last deal with you guys to add to the other ones that we've already discussed. How about from this moment onwards, especially whilst you're in this room, but if you want to do it outside, that's fine too. Pretend you finished the course. Pretend that you are that hypnotist that we talked about and fool everyone else. Now, they'll know somewhere in the back of their mind that's not quite true. And you'll know that they'll know. So there's no real pressure for you to perform anything, right? But we may as well pretend and just see where that takes us.